We have seen the pain that shaped our hearts, and in our shame we're still breathing, 'cause we have seen the hope of your healing rising from our souls. Is the feeling we are drawing close. Your light is shining through. So wake up, wake up, wake up, all you sleepers, stand up. Stand up, stand up, all you dreamers, hands up. Hands up, all believers, take up your cross, carry it on. All that you reveal is light in us, will come to life and start breathing, 'cause we have seen the hope of your healing rising from our souls. Is the feeling we are drawing close. Your light is shining through. So wake up, wake up, wake up, all you sleepers, stand up. Stand up, stand up, all you dreamers, hands up. Oh, hands up, all believers, take up your cross, carry it on. Yeah.
Good morning and welcome to worship at Mount Zion United Methodist Church. I am Reverend Deborah Stewart, one of the associate pastors serving on staff. I am excited to be with you this morning as we continue this Lenten journey together. Thank you to our visitors for joining us on this blessed Sunday. If you have not had a chance, subscribe to our YouTube channel and to our weekly newsletter. We invite you to contact our church office if you have questions about this ministry. Because there are so many wonderful things happening in the life of the church, we are only able to mention a few. For many children in foster care and those in at-risk families, WellRoot Family Services is working with their partners to ensure that every child in their programs receives a personalized Easter basket to celebrate the joy of Easter. Mount Zion is partnering with WellRoot to sponsor Easter baskets for 20 children, ages 2 to young adult. There are just a few baskets still needed if you are feeling led to join this effort. Action Ministries works at meeting the basic needs of hunger, housing, and education in Georgia. During the entire month of March, we'll be collecting single-serve food items for their Giving Hope food drive. The collection bins can be found in the covered drive-through at the church. Finally, these are unusual and difficult times. Mount Zion has an active Stephen ministry. Stephen ministers are trained lay people that provide confidential one-to-one care in our congregation and community to those who are experiencing difficulties in their lives, loneliness, loss of a loved one, divorce or separation, a terminal illness, and many more. To connect with a Stephen minister or to find out more information, contact one of the pastors or email stephenministry@mountzionumc.org. Visit our website for more details on each of these announcements. Let us continue to worship together in unity and peace on this glorious day that the Lord has made.
Beloved, where the Spirit of the Lord is, so there is the one true church, holy, apostolic, and universal. I ask you to join with me now in collectively affirming our faith with the modern affirmation number 885 in the hymnal. You'll see the words there on the screen that we might join together in this affirmation. We believe in God the Father, infinite in wisdom, power, and love, whose mercy is over all his works, and whose will is ever directed to his children's good. We believe in Jesus Christ, Son of God and Son of Man, the gift of the Father's unfailing grace, the ground of our hope, and the promise of our deliverance from sin and death. We believe in the Holy Spirit as the divine presence in our lives, whereby we are kept in perpetual remembrance of the truth of Christ and find strength and help in time of need. We believe that this faith should manifest itself in the service of love as set forth in the example of our blessed Lord, to the end that the kingdom of God may come upon the earth. In Jesus' name, amen. Well, beloved, we are provided the means for this ministry of spreading the love of Jesus Christ right here on earth and building up his kingdom through the blessings of God that pour through our lives. And those blessings come forth through our tithes, our gifts, and our offerings that fuel the ministry right here through Mount Zion United Methodist Church. We give you thanks for your continued generosity in this giving, which has provided the ministry of so many things that we continue to do, even in the pandemic, the ability to bring these worship services, to continue our youth and children's ministry, our music ministry, our discipleship ministry with our mini classes and other things, and simply having the facilities to do so many things which provide food for the hungry, as well as providing warm coats for those that are cold. So many things continue to go on, and you may send your offerings in either by the address you see on the screen or go on the website at mountzionumc.org. Look for the Give button. If you'll click it, it'll take you into the Easy Tithe application, and that is indeed an easy way to give. But again, we give you thanks for your generosity in supporting the ministries through Mount Zion, but also, most of all, we give thanks to God for all of these blessings.
When the pieces seem to shatter together off the floor, and all that seems to matter is I don't feel you anymore. No, I don't feel you anymore. I need a reason to see. I need a reason to see. I need to know that you're still holding the whole world in your hands. And I need a reason to see. When I'm overcome by fear, and I hate everything I know, and if this waiting lasts forever, I'm afraid I might let go. I'm afraid I might let go. Yeah. I need a reason to see. I need a reason to see. I need to know that you're still holding the whole world in your hands. I need a reason to sing. Yeah.
This morning, I want to invite you to take a look at the prayer request sheet that is attached to your online bulletin, and you'll see the names of those that we've been praying for throughout the last week and throughout the last few weeks. And we invite you to be in prayer for them as well, to lift up these names when you pray throughout the week, praying for them as you continuously go, sharing in this moment of lifting up their spirits to God along with the rest of us. If you have anything that you would like to add to our prayer requests, anybody, any family member or friends that you would like to share with us, please reach out and let us know. We would love to be praying for them or praying for you in any way that we can. And likewise, if you have any celebrations of those prayers, let us know. We love to hear about when prayers go answered. That's one of the greatest things that we get. We spend every week praying for everyone on our prayer requests, and nothing makes us happier than when we hear how some of those prayers are being answered by God. So let us know when things are going well or when you need us to be praying for you, because we're here to pray for you along with everyone else in our congregation. They want to be lifting you up in prayer. Now this morning, as we get ready to go to the Lord in prayer and take a moment, I just want to invite you to pause for a second and maybe speak aloud the name of anybody that you are praying for currently. I know you're in the safety of your homes, so you don't have to feel like anyone else will know. So just speak out that name, and you and God will hear it, and those prayers will start to go into motion because God's heard them and God is already working in this moment. So hear these words and take a moment to pause before we pray together. Will you join me? Heavenly Father, you called us into the body of Christ. So help us live as one in God. You have given us one faith. You keep us in the one true faith. You have given us one baptism. Let us live in our common baptismal grace. You have given us apostles and prophets. Let us hear with singleness of our hearts. You have sent us pastors and teachers. So enlighten us to learn with oneness of the mind. You have equipped us for the unity of faith. Help us attain that unity through forgiveness. God, you have given us your love in Christ. So enable us to speak your truth in love. You built your church of your will. So make us to fit into your proper place, God. God, you created your church of living stones. So enliven us to serve your holy purpose, that the whole church may grow and continue to upbuild itself in your love. God, we ask all of these names that we have lifted up today. We ask that you hear our prayers for them, Lord, and that you place a calming and steady hand of your peace and your mercy and your joy into their hearts and into their souls. And God, we just pray for all of the great things that you are doing in this church and this community. And together we pray all of these things in the words that only your Son has taught us to pray, saying, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. This morning, you'll find our scripture reading coming from the Gospel of Mark. You'll find it in chapter 8, and if you're reading along, verse 31 through 38. Here's what the Gospel of Mark says. Then he began to teach them that the Son of Man must undergo great sufferings and be rejected by the elders, the chief priests, and the scribes, and be killed, and after 3 days rise again." He said all this quite openly, and Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. But turning and looking at the disciples, he rebuked Peter and said, "Get behind me, Satan, for you are setting your mind not on divine things, but on human things." He called the crowd with the disciples and said to them, "If any want to become my followers, let them deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. For those who want to save their life will lose it. And those who lose their life for my sake and for the sake of the gospel will save it. For what will it profit them to gain the whole world and forfeit their life? Indeed, what can they give in return for their life? Those who are ashamed of me and of my words in the adulterous and sinful generation, of them the Son of Man will also be ashamed when he comes in the glory of his Father with the holy angels." And this is the word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God.
I don't want to think about where I would be if not for God's plan. I tried it my way, but God did not leave me out there, but accepts us as we are. God picked me up and dusted me off. When I arrived in Atlanta after college, single, Atlanta was the place to be. I planned to take advantage of all of the nightlife options the city had to offer. I wasn't able to get my bags unpacked before my roommate at the time invited me to Bible study at the United Methodist Church she attended. She said her coworker was the teacher. I remember telling her, "Okay, enjoy." But she kept inviting and she kept inviting me until I finally attended. From that Bible study, I was a part of other studies, including Experiencing God. The writers presented several thoughts that still resonate with me today. Watch to see where God is working and join him in his work. And this bullet, you cannot stay where you are and go with God. I want to emphasize verse 34 of the text. Jesus said, "If any want to become my followers, let them deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me." From the Common English Bible translation, "All who want to come after me must say no to themselves, take up their cross and follow me." From the Message Bible, "Anyone who intends to come with me has to let me lead. You're not in the driver's seat. I am. Don't run from suffering. Embrace it. Follow me and I'll show you how." I will use for a thought, follow God's plan. The text opens just after Jesus questions the disciples about his identity at Caesarea Philippi. "Who do you say that I am?" Peter answers correctly, "You are the Messiah." But there's a lot more to the story. Jesus began to teach the crowd that he must undergo great suffering. He would be rejected by the religious leaders. He would be killed and rise after 3 days. Peter had a hard time with Jesus' suffering as a part of the plan. He took Jesus to the side and rebuked him. Turning to look at the disciples, Jesus in turn rebukes Peter because Peter does not understand divine things, only human things. Jesus said, "Get behind me, Satan." He continues teaching and calling the crowd with his disciples. "If any of you want to become my followers, deny yourself, take up your cross and follow." There is a price to pay for discipleship. What does it mean saying no to yourself, especially during the season of Lent, when denying oneself is a familiar phrase? Many are weary. To some, it may feel that we have been in the Lenten season for a year since the pandemic started during Lent last year. Jesus continues to invite us to discipleship. Come to me. In Matthew 11, he says, "Come to me, all you that are weary and are carrying heavy burdens, and I will give you rest." What do you hear when Jesus calls the disciples to deny themselves, pick up the cross, and follow him? It means something different for each of us. Some understand it to pick up the cross is to pick up the burdens of others. Jesus invites all who are burdened, weary, troubled, and exhausted to come, to look up. Come to me. I will give you rest. Sometimes you are so weary and tired you feel you cannot rest. But Jesus says, "Take my yoke upon you and learn from me. You will find rest for your souls." How is your soul? If it is weary and tired from thoughts and struggles, Jesus has the answer: rest, which is the absence of worry and anxiety. To come to him is to come in faith and trust him. The word deny means in the text to disown, to refuse to acknowledge or maintain any connection with. To understand this word better, I looked at another text where Mark used deny, and it means the same thing. Used in Mark's Gospel, chapter 14, where Peter denies Jesus. Listen, "And as Peter was below in the courtyard, one of the servant girls of the high priest came, and seeing Peter warming himself, she looked at him and said, 'You also were with the Nazarene Jesus.' But he denied it, saying, 'I neither know nor understand what you mean.' And he went out into the gateway, and the rooster crowed. And the servant girl saw him and began again to say to the bystanders, 'This man is one of them.' But again he denied it. And after a little while, the bystanders again said to Peter, 'Certainly you are one of them, for you are a Galilean.' But he began to invoke a curse on himself and to swear, 'I do not know this man of whom you speak.' And immediately the rooster crowed a second time. And Peter remembered how Jesus said to him, 'Before the rooster crows twice, you will deny me 3 times. And he broke down and wept. When I look at the text today, I am reminded of this example of Peter denying Christ 3 times. By contrast, deny ourselves would be a good start if any want to follow Christ. Let them deny themselves. Dietrich Bonhoeffer said, "When Christ calls a man, he bids him come and die." This is a hard saying, yet this text is clear. Discipleship includes daily dying to self, surrendering to Christ, and taking up the cross. Jesus' mission includes suffering, and the disciples would share in his suffering. It puts denial and self-interest into a different perspective. It's not about me, but God's plan. What does it mean to be a disciple? John Wesley, in the character of a Methodist, gave 5 marks to confirm our identity as genuine and fruitful disciples and followers of Christ. Love God, rejoice in God, give thanks, pray constantly, and love others. What would you add to this list? Practice the fruits of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, generosity, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. But be gentle with yourself as well as others. We will be known by the fruit that we bear. Finally, that roommate who kept inviting me to Bible study reminds me how important it is to be welcoming and inviting. Several weeks ago, I was at the church when the alarm went off and the police arrived. When the officers came back into the offices, there was a white police officer with a black police officer. I had on my clergy robe, which I usually do not, except for filming communion that day. They were both probably surprised to hear me say, "Wait, let me put my mask on." After giving the officer my ID, I opened my drawer and there was one lone business card sitting there. as if waiting for that moment. I handed it to him and said, please contact us if we can support you. We are praying for you. The encounter reminded me of a statement I saw on the United Methodist Church website. Instead of calling people out, how do we invite them in? For the joy set before him, Jesus endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. The life, death, and resurrection of Christ is the foundation of the church. For those who lose their life for my sake and the sake of the gospel will save it. Follow God's plan. Take up the cross and accept the will of God. Love God, love neighbor. Amen.
Turn your eyes upon Jesus. Look full in his wonderful face, and the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. Turn your eyes upon Jesus. Look full in his wonderful face, and the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace.
Thank you for joining us today. As the Holy Spirit continues to speak, may we have the grace to hear and the courage to live and to follow Christ into the bright light of Easter. May the God of peace give you peace at all times and in all places. Go forth to love and to serve one another. Amen.
I, the Lord of sea and sky, I have heard my people cry, all who dwell in dark and sin, my hand will save. I who made the stars of night,